Hi, everyone. This is Helena Hart, and today I'm so excited to introduce Denise K to my community today. Welcome, Denise.
Hello.
I've been really looking forward to this topic. Today, we're going to be talking about something really important, and that is how to heal your heart from toxic relationship patterns so you can move on and attract the perfect person for you. For those of you who aren't familiar with Denise, she is a transformational speaker, author, and coach who helps women to do exactly that, right? Empower themselves to heal toxic patterns and attract the love of their life. She has an incredible story that we're going to be talking about, and I've just been getting so many questions on this topic. Denise, you probably get this all the time too, how to heal from narcissistic abuse or from a toxic relationship so you can move on for that love that's truly meant for you. So make sure to stay till the end of this video too, because we have an incredible, totally free opportunity for you guys, something that I'm going to be a part of myself. So you don't want to miss out on that. But let's just jump right in, Denise. I rarely do this, but your story is just so incredible. I heard you on an interview a couple years ago, and I think a lot of women on my channel can relate to what you've been through. So if you don't mind just briefly sharing a little bit about, what made you want to become a coach and do this work with women.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So the story goes, I was in this toxic relationship, which involved emotional, financial, psychological abuse. And for over 20 years, I had 2 children with him. And so in 2012, after years and years of traumas and dramas and threatening divorce, but never doing it, I finally had the courage to get up and leave. And when I did leave, Helena, it was with nothing, like a futon couch and an air mattress is all I left with, because I wanted to completely separate from him. I had had enough. And I moved here to North Carolina, where I started my life completely over. And through me being single for the first time in over 20 years, that was super interesting, I started to see this pattern where I was attracting the same type of guy, the same type of man as my ex over and over again. And so I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want, and I didn't want the past. So it took this one, I guess, dating relationship, you could call it, where it was almost like a carbon copy story of what I had already been through with my ex-husband, where I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, this is so similar to what I had already been through. And I realized in that moment that I'm the common denominator here. These men don't know each other, but I know them. So that's when I completely stopped dating and took 18 months to dive into my healing journey and to heal all of my stuff, which I didn't realize at the time how much stuff was there. So that led me to, I had already started my business, and in the beginning I thought I was a divorce coach because I had gone through the divorce successfully. But through that story that I just gave you about the 18 months of healing, that's when I discovered, like, no, this is what I need to talk to. This is who I need to talk to. And so that's what blossomed out of that story, was to focus on helping women heal from toxic patterns. So she's already divorced, she's dating, she sees this pattern where she keeps attracting the same type of guy over and over again. And just like me, she's not clear on what she wants, but she definitely knows what she doesn't want. So that's what led me here.
Oh my gosh, so powerful. And let us know, for everyone watching down below in the comments section, is this something you can relate to? I know I hear from women all the time who are in that space where they've maybe left or they want to leave the toxic relationship and move on and attract something totally different. So I'd love to hear from you. I know specifically in this video, we want to talk about narcissistic abuse. You're kind of an expert in that as well, right? What are some of the signs that someone has gone through that or is going through that?
Well, the signs that some women don't know they've gone through, that they can just relate it to as toxic, unhealthy, where they lost their identity in the relationship. They lost who they were. Everything slowly turned into being everything about him and his needs and his wants, and hers just, it happens so subtly that they don't even realize it until years of accumulation of this, and they turn around and they're like, whoa, like, who am I? What is my purpose in life? I feel like I'm not even existing anymore. So it's more of a feeling. I mean, there's signs, there's love bombing, there's gaslighting, there's manipulation, there's all kinds of signs. But for the women who don't exactly know, I would say it's a feeling that they have that this is really unhealthy. And yeah, so there's a trillion signs. We could do a whole list of
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it all goes back to how you feel, right? Like something might feel right, maybe because it kind of fits in with your old toxic patterns or what love felt like to you maybe earlier in life. But when you really think about it, something doesn't feel good, right? Whatever's going on doesn't feel good. I know, like you said, it can happen slowly over time. And oh my gosh, we probably do a whole nother video just on that. But I know I've been getting a lot of questions about that lately. Probably the number one question is how to trust men again after leaving a situation like that. I hear from so many women who have been just like you were, married for decades and have children, and then they don't trust a guy. A guy comes along and gives them a little attention, and they assume everyone's a narcissist or, you know, somebody who's similar to the person who abused them. Do you have any tips for women in that situation?
Absolutely. So the first thing that I want to say to your audience is that it's perfectly normal to feel like this when you've come out of this type of a relationship. So, I say honor that in you. And then the other thing is this is the number one challenge that women have coming out of these relationships. And it's no wonder because they have been manipulated so many times. Most of them have been cheated on, lied to. So of course, trust would be a huge issue for them. What I can say is trust is just a muscle. And once you start to practice working out that muscle, then it starts to build itself up. So think of a child, think of a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. And the reason why, you know, for those of you who are parents, the reason why we have to teach our children, don't go with, you know, the stranger with the lollipop or the puppy, right? Don't talk to strangers because we are born naturally trusting. We naturally know how to trust, right? We trust what people say. We trust mom and dad know what they're talking about and do. But over time, growing up, there's all of these little ways that we are shown how not to trust, whether it's through examples through our environment, or I have a great example. A woman that I was talking to had a huge aha moment. This was a few years ago, and she took her 4-year-old to the store, and he had been really good that week in school, so she wanted to reward him. And so she told him, you can pick out your favorite lollipop. So there was this box of lollipops with all different flavors. And at 4 years old, we know what we want. Like 4 years old, they don't doubt themselves. So he immediately picked up the grape flavored lollipop, and he was, let's go, mom, ready to go, right? Excited, he's getting his lollipop. And mom says, are you sure? Are you sure you want grape? What about strawberry or watermelon? Ooh, you love bubblegum. And so there's this seed of doubt that was planted into his head at such a young age. Mom didn't mean to harm him. This was not a malicious move. This is just how it goes. And so over time, imagine how many times this has happened to us in childhood growing up. And then you find yourself in a toxic relationship and there's even more manipulation and control. And so lots of seeds of doubt being put in there. So I say that trust is just a muscle. And once you start to work it out again, you will be able to trust yourself, trust your intuition, know what the other person, you could feel the energy from the other person if they're being genuine or if they're not. And then you judge yourself, you know instinctively whether this is a yes or a no. So
got it.
That's what I say.
Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. So what I think I hear you saying is it kind of all starts with trusting yourself. And that can be hard too, especially if we've put ourselves in situations over and over and over again with men where we've gotten hurt, right? There's probably a part of yourself that's angry, all of us, right? Angry with you and scared because you've, kept putting yourself in compromising situations with men,
Right.
just as one example. There's all different kinds of examples here. And so I think that's when we want to build walls up. So what I hear you saying is just in baby steps without over investing or, with your boundaries intact, you trust yourself and then you see what a man does. And it's just like this muscle you slowly build. Do I have that right?
Yep.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what were some of the first steps for you in your own healing, or what do you advise women do? Let's say if I was your client and I came to you and I was newly single, or I was, wanting to empower myself to leave a toxic situation, what are some of the first things you'd have me do?
Well, I go through it's a 4-step process. So the first 3 are self-love, which I believe is the foundation of everything. So once you can start to love and embrace yourself, even the flaws, even the stuff you don't like about yourself, even the past, then it gets easier from there. And then there's forgiveness. So there's a huge part that you need to forgive yourself, forgive what has been done to you, the experiences that you've been through. And then there's truth. So those are the 3 keys to healing that are biblical, taught to us by our great masters. And then I added trust. So that's the 4th one. I added the trust. So those are the 4 pillars of what I teach my clients of how to heal and recover from narcissistic relationships, because all of those things come into play, right? There was a certain level of self-love going into the relationship, or lack of, right? And then, so what happens is one wounded person attracted another wounded person, because like energy attracts like energy. So yes, let's say the woman is the empathic, more type of person, and he was the narcissistic one. They're both wounded. Yes, he's more wounded than she is, but still, there's still wounded people coming together, right? And so just recognizing that and realizing that, and then going into the deep love for yourself and forgiving yourself for making the mistakes. You know, Helena, I carried a lot of guilt for staying with him for so long, because my kids went through so many traumas. And the biggest one was in 2008 when he attempted to take his life with our 14-year-old daughter in the next room. And so for years, I carried so much guilt around that how stupid are you, Denise? How could you, why'd you stay with him after that? Why'd you stay with him before that? You knew he was mentally ill, and just the whole bashing thing went on and on. And so the first thing that I had to do in my healing journey was I had to forgive myself and love that story. I had to actually love that story so that I could move on past it. And that was like a big one, because that was the biggest trauma that I had ever been through in my life, was walking into that and everything that happened after that. So that's what I would say too.
Wow. It's so powerful. I'm going to have goosebumps when you tell some of the story. I've been through a sort of similar situation. I'm going to talk about that with you on the series, the free series that you're offering, right? We'll talk about that at the end of this video. Oh my gosh. It's almost like forgiving yourself for not knowing, like you said, it's 2 wounded people. Yes, the man is wounded, but on some level we have to be wounded in order to attract that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Right. What would you say to women? I know I hear a lot is empaths attract narcissists or abusers. I don't know a whole lot about that paradigm. Do you have anything to say on that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've done so many videos on that, because empathic people they're very sensitive. They're known to be very sensitive. They also have this quality of wanting to only see the good in everybody. And so that's a good thing, but it also can hurt them, because when you only want to see the good in people, then you ignore the red flags, you ignore the signs, and that's where it can hurt you. And when you think of a narcissistic person, that's the perfect match for him, right? Because now he's met somebody who's willing to see only the good in him and ignore all of the red flags. And so I say they go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so it's like it's the perfect relationship in hell, because what she goes through, what he puts her through, is a living hell. And there's so many realities to having a relationship with a narcissist and then coming out of it. And we talked about trust and all that. And then I get a big question of this, Helena, is, did he ever love me? Was our life a lie? Was our marriage a lie? Because a lot of these women have invested, like me, over years of this relationship, children, mortgages, memories, like a long time. And it's a really hard pill to swallow, but it's a reality that narcissistic people are incapable of love. First, loving themselves. If you have to love yourself on a certain level in order for you to give out that love to somebody else. So no, they don't love themselves. And so if you don't love yourself, you have no love to give. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. We could probably do a whole series of videos just on this one topic. So let us know your guys' experience down below in the comment section. I know so many women, I hear from women every day, literally in, here in my community, also in my Facebook group, the Goddess community, who say, I thought it was this magical love. It was 6 months of just showering, love bombing. And then at the time I just thought, oh my gosh, I've met my soulmate, only to, have that narcissistic abuse come in kind of incrementally. And it's just totally devastating. We don't want anyone to have to go through that, right? Or if you're already in that situation, I know you're just a total expert at empowering women to remove themselves and, start building up their own self-esteem and self-love so they can move on and attract the right person. Also, I forgot to mention, you just recently got married again, right?
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, it's 2 months today. Holy moly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. So it's just, oh my gosh, it's such an amazing example of this. I would love to have you come on and do more videos. Before we talk about your free series that I'm going to be a part of, what's your just last, maybe your number one top words of wisdom for someone who's in this situation and who wants to do exactly what you did, heal themselves and move on to attract the person that's truly right for them?
Perfect. So depending on where they're at, I just asked this question in my Facebook group. So if they're newly out of it, like weeks, months, then I tell them to just extreme self-care right now. Be patient with yourself and do a lot of self-care, right? Because it's almost like a grieving process. There's these waves that you have to go through in order for you to cross over to the other side. But if they've been out of it for years, and they're ready to dive into, finding their true love, I would say there has to be this middle ground, which is the healing piece. So if you find yourself going on dates and you keep attracting the same type as your guy as your ex-husband, and you're like, ain't doing that ever again, then that is your sign from the universe to go within. And so find somebody who you relate to, that you can feel comfortable with, confide in, and get the help that you need to go within and heal all of those childhood wounds, essentially, that led you into that relationship, so that you can move on and then find true love.
Amazing. That is so beautiful. Love what you said. And speaking of healing from toxic patterns and building up your self-love, that brings us to your free series that I'm going to be a part of that starts soon. And so tell everyone about that. I'm going to include the details. It will be the first link in the description. I'll also add it to the comment section. Totally 100% free for you guys. So yes, let everyone know the details about that.
Thank you. Awesome. So it is called Heal Yourself, right? Heal from toxic love so that you can find true love. You are one of my guests, and I have literally handpicked all of my guests. So all of my guests are so amazing, and they know exactly what the audience has been through, and each of them is going to give so much, not only in their talk, but also they're offering free gifts for the audience, which is specific for what the audience has been through. So it starts October 19th, and we go live for 5 whole days, and it's a virtual conference, essentially. So you just put your name and your email address in a link that, Helena, that you're going to provide, and then boom, you will get an email that lets you know you're in, and then you will start getting the videos and start collecting the gifts that are going to help you.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm a little nervous, and we're about to record my interview next. I think I've been a little nervous all day because it's something I don't really share openly so much out here on YouTube for just for the whole world to see about my own personal journey. Sign up and watch the interview, and you guys will learn some more about what I've kind of been through in my own self-love journey, my own healing from, previously, before I started my YouTube channel, being married to someone who unfortunately developed a horrific alcohol problem, having to unhook myself from that and then get on the path to, like you said, forgiving myself, self-love, finding the love of my life after a couple years after my divorce. So we're going to be talking about that in our interview. I'm actually excited. I feel like this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. So make sure to click the link in the description, sign up, get my interview with Denise and all of the other amazing experts and their free gifts. Totally free for you guys. Denise, this was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd love to do some more videos with you on this topic. Let us know, for everyone watching, what topic suggestions do you have for us? Should I bring Denise back on? I'm sure everyone's going to want to hear more from you. you. So thank you so much again. And I hope to see everyone in the series.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.